evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Transportation Committee meeting of May the 8th. We have two members absent. Mr. Todd Lambert is at work tonight, and Ken Shakespeare had another engagement that he had to leave early. We do want to welcome anyone here that has a public comment. You may register with our secretary out here, and she will give us a card on any agenda item that we have. Tonight we want to welcome former Representative Juba Diaz, who has now taken a job with Volkert and Associates. And Juba has some information to present to this committee tonight, and we welcome you, and we know you have other things to do tonight, so we're sorry we're late, Mr. Diaz, but right. Things happen.
Madam Chairman, thank you, members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I just want to tell you a little bit about Volkert Engineering Firm. It's not a new firm to Louisiana. They've been here since 1925, started in New Orleans, Louisiana, did most of the work on the causeway, doing the work now on the twin spans in New Orleans. They're a regional firm. They're a regional firm.
You got one for the chairman?
Huh?
Do you have one for the chairman?
I brought one to her house.
I have one at the house.
But I have some extras, yes. Okay. That's okay.
That's okay. I'm listening.
They're a regional firm. They're mostly in the south and southeast. They are in Washington, do a lot of work in Washington, D.C. You can see on the first page of the pamphlet. Opening an office in, they have one in Illinois that they just recently opened, and they opened one in Jefferson City, Missouri. We are now located, because of Hurricane Katrina, we were in New Orleans for forever, and then the hurricane wiped them out, so we're in Walker now, but we have leased space in Baton Rouge and Drusilla Shopping Center, and we'll be relocating there in a few weeks. The company is not new to me or Louisiana. The president of the company is Perry Hand. He served 2 terms in the Alabama Senate. He served 1 term as Secretary of State of Alabama and 1 term as Alabama DOT. I knew him through my connection. As some of y'all know, that I was elected for the 16th Southern States Chairman of the Transportation Committee at Southern SLC, Southern Legislative Conference, and I knew him from those years, and he and I just became friends, and that's how I got involved with them, and I was offered a job, and I took it. You can see from the website that they are ranked 130 from this publication. They're number 132nd out of the top 500 engineering companies in America. In the South, they rank in Louisiana, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi. They rank number 4. In Alabama, they rank number 2. So they're a reputable firm. They pride themselves in doing repeat business by doing quality work for their customers and satisfying them, and that's how they got to be the size they are, and they continue to grow. As a matter of fact, in the past year, they were up 12 positions in the national survey that I showed you. So I'm simply here saying that we would like to do business in Ascension Parish, and I'll assure you that we would do the same thing here as we've done anywhere else, and try to give you quality service. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to.
Do I have any questions, Mr. Lambert, Mr. Savoy?
No. Appreciate it, Jim.
Thanks a lot. And
we thank you for coming. And
say that all the years that I served in the legislature, I think I went to 2 police jury meetings. Both of those I was invited to go. I understand I wore those shoes more than these shoes, a lot longer than these shoes. And I understand a lot of folks pulling on you, pushing on you, and wanting you to vote this way and that way. And so I understand. I try to always stay out of your business and work with the membership on an individual basis as best I could, and I'll still offer that same service to y'all now. Thanks very much.
We appreciate you coming and giving us the information, and of course I'm sure you've met our new director,
right,
and he would be a good contact to further work with, and of course if we can use our services, I'm sure Mr. Bob will bring us a good recommendation.
I appreciate it, and we are a full service engineering firm doing all aspects of civil engineering. So, and yes, I'll be glad to work with Bob and the rest of y'all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Item number 5 is street signs and weight limits. This is an item that we've got on the agenda just in case any of you guys have anything like this that you need to bring up. We can do it at this time. So if there are nothing, we'll go ahead and pass on that item. Number 6 is an update on parish and state projects. We welcome Mr. Kent Israel, who will bring us that update. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, members of the council, presented to you tonight a status report on the ongoing projects in Ascension. Just a few comments. Westworthy Road, we expect the right-of-way maps to be delivered to the parish on June 8th, and after that we will start the right-of-way acquisition process. We will hopefully have everything in line by that time so we can get our appraisers and people who will actually buy the property in order before that date so we can start. I believe Mr. Turner is going to cover several of the other items in his comments on Cannon Road, and there's an item on Joseph Ariel Road on the agenda. So those are the basic information on the updated status of the ongoing projects. As far as some of the state projects, they're working on the intersection of LA 70 and LA 22 in right out of Sorrento, doing a lot of work there. Also 3125 and 70 across from Motiva. That seems to be going fairly well. They still have not started, the state still has not had their contractor fully mobilized back on Airline Highway. I would hope very soon they'll get that done, but I know he's been doing a little bit of work, because I saw some of the equipment last night and yesterday as I went home. LA 44, they haven't started work on that yet. They're going to, the same contractor who has 44 is one who's got the 70 and 22 work, so he's going to finish those other two projects up before he starts on 70. Only
73 from the airline to the interstate. Where are we?
That project, the state is doing the survey. They have not finished the survey. They've got a consultant selected. He's waiting for the survey to be completed. So they're still a little ways off from finishing that survey. It's one of the projects the state decided to keep the survey in-house because at the time they started that, they were not busy. Since then, they've had a lot more other work that's come in, which has kind of delayed that one. So, but
that is in progress.
They're supposedly doing the survey. I have not seen a survey party out there as such, but the state is the one that's doing the survey themselves.
I saw some out there this week, but I think they were for 621 and 73. They were in that vicinity. So I'm not sure if they were what the survey crew was working on, whether it was that project or the other one.
Clarification. What are you speaking of? What project, Miss? You said 73 and interstate.
73 from the interstate to Airline Highway.
Okay. All right. I didn't understand.
I said airline first. That's why. I should have said from the interstate to airline. I said from the airline to the interstate. So same difference, I guess. It just came out different.
So any other further questions on
Anybody have any
ongoing
further questions?
projects?
I did see the work going on at the intersection of 70 and 22.
Yeah.
I did notice that. I was out there this week and saw that they had began that. So that's encouraging that we do have some good projects going.
They're going, you have, I believe, the lighting projects on the interstate at LA 44 and LA 30 are scheduled for letting in June, which in the department's LA DOTD's normal letting is the last Wednesday in June. So unless something happens between now and the end of June, that project should be let to contract. That's about, I think, $750 to $1 million project for that lighting. Talk to the people this afternoon about that.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Bob, we will initiate you tonight. Item number 7.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have in your packet several items on the agenda tonight, and I apologize for the length of them. However, we are pushing hard to resolve a lot of items, and so for the next meeting or two, you may see quite a few of them. But the first item is the completed road projects that we've done in-house, and we've got 4 of them: the Sneck Snyder Road, Bayou Grand North. We're still working on that. We're about 90% complete. The first phase of Highway 74 complete. The second phase is consisting of the installation of aluminum box culverts, and Blaine Road culverts have been adjusted to correct the grade. Be glad to answer any questions that you might have on that. In addition to that, we have dug 27,603 linear feet of roadside ditches.
Councilman Sawa.
Mr. Bob, on this first phase of Highway 74 completion, where is this located?
Do you know where that is? I apologize. I don't know exactly where that is. Alan here behind me tells me it's in front of whose house?
Lewis Stafford's house.
Lewis Stafford's house.
On 74?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's by...
Replacing culvert.
What's the reason? I mean, what's the reason we're changing covers out? Is it? I mean, I can understand if it was drainage, but
It is drainage. It is drainage.
It is related to drainage?
Yes, sir.
okay. All right, that clears things up a little bit. All right.
I do have one comment. I want to thank you, Mr. Bob, for pushing to get this Bayou Grand North project completed. It was also a drainage project. We did have a big rain this past week. The residents feel confident that because of those box culverts, they noticed a significant amount of water, less water than they've had in the past. And so I know that they've been patient with getting the road part of it completed, and they benefited from the drainage part. But they are looking forward to, seeing the other 10% done. So I know you worked hard to get that asphalt.
I am, and I definitely appreciate that, and our crews do too. I do want to point out to you that Mr. Rue in the East Ascension Drainage Section and Public Works, we are working very good together. There's a lot of items go hand in glove, and this is one of them that does that. The next item that I have is the grass cutting and spraying, and I've got it as a handout. On weed control, 98 miles of ditches were cut, 105 miles of ditches were sprayed on the road, 13 miles of ditches were sprayed on the state routes. Section 2 was cut, mowed, and Section 1 was sprayed. Highway 61 was sprayed, and we started cutting in Section 4. You might recall, just a bit of information, we are working to have resolve a contract with the state for mowing, and that has not yet been resolved. We're hoping that the parish will be able to realize an increase in the amount that the state pays the parish, because right now we're expending significant monies over and above what it costs for the reimbursement on the state.
Mr. Bob.
Yes,
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
When do we expect this contract to be signed, Bob? Or what else are they working on? What do they need?
One of the problems, and it's my understanding in talking with them, is that they're actually trying to do several parishes at once, and I think that we're kind of caught up into the treating all the parishes fairly and equally, and so it's not something that just one parish that we could go to them and sit down and show them what it cost us and negotiate this. They're trying to negotiate something for several parishes at one time. So I think that's really the big holdup.
Well, they need to appreciate this last rain event we had. The state needs to realize that parish ditches are flowing into these state ditches, and the state ditches are flowing into the parish. We have to have these ditches cut to keep the water flowing, and we need this as soon as possible.
I absolutely agree. I think it's very critical that we maintain our ditch system. Clearly, we have, I'll say, inadequate capacity as it is, and to allow them to grow up and be diminished by grass is not a good thing. So we absolutely, both us and the state, need to keep our ditches mowed as best we can.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Do we need a letter sent to our reps on this to expedite, get this thing moving?
I was just going to ask if he was working with our state senator and our state reps.
We've been in contact with them and communicated that we're very interested in completing those contracts. We've just not heard back from the state on it, though.
This might be a good idea to send a letter. It just puts it forward that we really are serious about getting this done. I mean, we're in the beginning of summer, and it doesn't take long for the grass to grow, especially when they have rain. And it's not just about the drainage, it is about the aesthetics, but it's also about safety, because when the grass gets in certain ditches too high, it reduces the visibility, when you get to intersections and stuff. So it is very important that we do something quickly. And if we can get our representatives and state senator to help us, that would be a plus. And I think asking them to sending them a letter asking them to just press the issue or see what they can do would be a plus. So
I will make that motion that we do that.
Second.
Okay.
Then, Senator, if you will get a letter out to the state senator and the 3 representatives, and ask them to
please assist
to work and help and contact Mr. Bob, even ask them to get with Mr. Bob so that they can work together. And they probably know some contacts and stuff that will be able to aid, so we want to make sure that gets done quickly.
The next item is lighting at the intersection of 73 and LA 621 at I-10. This is Kent, on the list that he passed out, you could see the status of the LA 621 project. I have talked to the consultant a week ago or so, and they told me that last Wednesday that the project would be submitted to the state for final plans. This has been going on for some period of time, but the state has not received plans at this point. I have contacted the consultant, and they have not gotten back to me as to when they would expect to complete the plans and get them to the state. I will contact them again, though, and find out what our holdup is.
Mr. Bob?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you saying that the state now has the plans, or the consultant still has them and hasn't gotten them to the state?
The consultant still has them and has not submitted them to the state. They originally submitted them in January to the state, and they were in a condition that the state basically returned them and said you need to work on them some more and resubmit them to us. And they were supposed to resubmit them last week.
So we're still 5 months back, and
yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you said you called the consultant and they didn't return your call.
That's correct.
Might need to get a letter to them, and
I'm going to ask to talk to one of the principals of the firm rather than the project manager. I'm going to
It would be interesting to know what their holdup is.
I agree.
If they can answer that question for us.
I'll, when I talk to them, I'll give you an email or a fax to let you know what I find out.
Email the whole committee.
Okay. One of the things, and speaking of that, and I don't know whether I'm really burdening you all with emails and material, but I feel very strongly that I need to keep you all informed as soon as I know something. And part of this packet that you're going to see tonight is a matter of giving you information that I have.
Email works for me. When the email's up, it works good.
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Okay.
Any questions?
Is there any other questions that you have on the 621 item? The next item is Miller Road widening. Some time ago, the fire department asked us to look at the possibility of widening Miller Road. It's currently 18 feet wide, and they're going to be constructing a new station in the vicinity of Miller Road and Route 73. And in looking at it, we can widen Miller Road 4 feet from Route 73 down to Goodwood, which is their current access to their station. Goodwood is 20 feet wide, but this will allow then Miller Road to be 22 feet wide, which is more than adequate for the fire department trucks. We would then go ahead and resurface the remainder of Miller Road. I would recommend that we add Miller Road to the consideration for funding in the 2007 road list. In fact, it's on that list, and I would recommend that it be given serious consideration. Again, it's a safety due to fire, making sure our fire equipment can get in and out. So I'm sure it's going to be a relatively high priority.
Question. That sounds like a good idea, but I would like to address my question to, are you from 7th District, Mr. Mark?
Poche, right?
From Prairieville? I'm sorry, Prairieville. As far as, what's the time frame? Y'all got some work, don't y'all have some work going on as far as on y'all's station? Yeah, come on up to the mic, please.
We have an architect working on plans for the new station. They should be delivered sometime within the next 2 weeks for our review. And we're trying to build a station on that property as soon as possible. And the way the land is situated, we're going to have to put the station where it has to come out, our apparatus come out on Miller Road, and we're asking them to widen Miller Road to make it easier for the apparatus coming in.
Where I'm going at is time frame. Okay. Do we have time to put it on the next road project list, or do we have to take it up separate to meet their completion date? That's what I'm trying to look at.
I personally feel that's a very valid question, and I'm concerned about that. I know that at this point there's no action on the station, but at the same time, I would hope that we could move forward on the 2007 road list such that we could be under contract in a reasonable period of time.
Okay.
And if it turns out that we have to do something different that enhances that, I'd be glad to come back to you and offer that as a recommendation.
We'll watch it. We'll watch our movement as far as moving forward with the 2007 road project. And even, Bob, even at that, once we do establish 2007, whenever we go to bid, we can stipulate that Miller Road would be the first one that he would have to get to, or something like that, to try to accommodate the completion of your station.
Right.
Okay,
yes, sir.
That's my concern.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next excuse me. The next item is West Worley Road Bridge Project. Worley Road is on Kent's list that he gave to you. The preliminary engineering on that project is 100% done. The right-of-way acquisition is 70% done, and that the remainder of the right-of-way maps are to be delivered to the parish in about a month. The dilemma that I'm having is that the bridge on Worthy Road is basically collapsed, and so we've had to close that road last week. We've got a hole in the deck, and so I've got kind of an emergency situation on Worthy Road. And in looking at the plans, it appears like we could pull the bridge itself out of the plans and move forward with a separate design for the bridge and put the road back into service in relatively short order. So that's really my recommendation of what we do. The concern that I have is that there's about 1,000 vehicles a day that were in 2004, so I would think that it would be substantially higher, maybe 1,300 vehicles a day on that road. And right now the detour is about I believe it's about 1.5 mile detour to go around and so I'm concerned about emergency vehicles, sheriff and fire department, ambulance have to utilize that detour for a very long time, and I want to try to hold that to as short a period as possible. So with that, since it's already an identified project, it's already funded, I'd like to your permission to pull the project, the bridge project portion out of it, and complete the bridge and put the road back into service.
Motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Mr. Bob, you want to state your motion again for Ms. Cinnamon so she gets it like
yes.
you want it, and we'll vote on it.
A motion to separate the Worthy Road Bridge project or bridge from the project itself, the road project, and move forward with construction or replacement of that structure as soon as possible.
And Cinnamon, that is Westworthy.
Yes, Westworthy, I'm sorry.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. There are no objections. Does this need to go to finance or just straight to the council?
It's already a funded
It's
project.
already in
I mean,
the project.
the funding is available for it, so
Right.
I think it's a matter of me getting the authority from the council to go ahead and fund that part of the project, and I'll take that forward to council as soon as you all
Then that'll
approve it.
go on the council agenda for the third Thursday, the next council agenda. Okay, Mr. Bob.
The next item is one that was brought to me by the new COE, Mr. Thomas, and it's Cannon Road, and it's he asked for an update on the road, and it's one of these that we really need to get off a dead center on. The Cannon Road has been redesigned 3 times, and essentially we started out with a good AASHTO standard, American Association State Highway Official Standards. This is the type of right-of-way that we need. This is the type of road that we need. But when we really see what the impact of that is on the adjacent public, we find that we really can't build that type of a road in this particular case. And so we came down to a smaller road. Still yet we're having ditches on one side and we've got culverts on the other side, so we've got different right-of-way widths on one side and the other. The road originally was about 2 miles long. The project was about 2 miles long. Most of the project, a good bit of the project, has already been widened. And so when you go out there, you see an obvious deficiency in this one section that's about only a half a mile long. And so in looking at that, it's my recommendations to you that we really go down to the minimum design that it takes to put a decent road surface in, and we lock in on that. And basically that's a 35-foot right-of-way on each side, and a total of 70-foot of right-of-way, and we enclose the culverts on it for this last half a mile. And we construct it through that section, basically reducing the length of the project because the other part of the project has already been widened. It's got good lane widths, and we come down and we build just this portion. Now, I haven't asked for a consultant to look at the pros and cons of the 2 widths. I just feel like we've kind of wore this project out by looking at it, and I'd like to get in on and build something. My estimate at this point is about $575,000 to build this half a mile, but it would be proper lane widths, and it would be an enclosed culvert system. May involve a commitment from you all at some point in time that we have to expropriate the property if the citizens, I think they're going to be very happy that it's a reduced typical section, but at the same time, it's still their front yard, and I understand that. So they're not going to necessarily be, may not necessarily welcome the project, although we've acquired quite a bit of the right-of-way.
Madam Chair. I'm sorry.
You had me until you said we were going to have to go and acquire right away.
Yes, sir.
If we're going to have to go and acquire right away, do we have a cheaper design?
Well, that's why I went to this minimum design. Rather than go back to a consultant and ask them to make a comparison of a open ditch to a closed culvert situation, I felt like that in this particular area that we come down to a minimum closed culvert system, and that we build that. I just don't feel that we can come any less than that. What this will do when we're done is that they will have a closed system in front of their house, not an open ditch. So while it may be parish right away, it will give the appearance to them that it's kind of part of their front yard. So yes, it will take some right of way, but at the same time, the finished product will look very, very pleasing to them. Now and this is a very good point. This is the point that I think that we're stuck on in several projects, is that in order to build the roads that are needed to handle the traffic, we're imposing right of way onto the residents along the road. And so I think we have to, rather than keep looking at a project and say we'd like to build the nice wide standard, let's come to something that's reasonable, that will serve for the public, the volume of traffic that's probably going to utilize that road for a period of time, and at the same time be considerate of the neighbors along the road. It's kind of a compromise, if you will, but I don't think I can go any narrower than this 35 feet on each side.
Councilman Lambert.
So more or less we just enclosed the ditches,
Yes,
utilities, no relocates, or we just and that's we can fast track. This is a straight road that we're talking about on Cannon, right?
This
No
is
curves.
a straight road, yes, sir. It's a half a mile long. The area that I'd like us to proceed to construct, it's a half a mile long, and it would be a closed culvert system on both sides.
Yeah.
And it would be a straight road.
I think you have a good idea there, Bob. Real good idea. And quick.
Yeah, and I understand that, I really don't want to impose on the people who live along the road. I'm very, very concerned about the impact that we have. So that's the reason that rather than continuing to study this, I think let's look at what's reasonable for all concerns. The public being able to have a road that handles the traffic, and at the same time recognizing that we cannot put the homes in jeopardy that are along the road.
What do you need from the committee, Bob? Do you need anything now, or you just...
Well, I would like your consideration to go ahead and do more study and come back to you with a more feasible. I'll ask the consultant to give me a estimated cost and the effect of the right-of-way for this particular proposal.
This is my concern, Bob. I mean, we've got 3 designs on it, you said.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It was identified years ago as a safety hazard, and that's one reason why it got put on there. It is a safety hazard.
It is.
Okay. But the 3 designs is what's scaring me. I mean, at some point we have to say that we're going to look at the projects from a safety standpoint. I don't know where the residents stand on either one of these designs. They may not be happy with either one. I don't know.
I can only conclude that the reason that we've had to redesign it 3 times is because it was not acceptable to the public. I'm sure as those designs came forward that the public spoke and said, you know, this is too hard on us, this is too much. And so that's a reason that I felt like that we should look very hard at what does it take to maintain a safe roadway through there such that the traffic can adequately get through there without running off of a narrow road. And so by having a closed culvert system, it's my feeling that we could do that. I think it'd be safe. I feel very confident that it'd be safe.
All right, are we looking at matching the west side of the bridge with the east side of the bridge?
No. Actually, the bridge itself would be a change in the appearance. At the bridge going east is an open ditch section for the most part, and what I'm looking at is from the bridge going west a half a mile being a closed section.
No, I'm talking about asphalt to asphalt.
Oh yes,
That's
yes sir, absolutely. No, it would match perfectly at the bridge, and the lane widths would be the same. What you see on the east side of the bridge for the lane widths are good lane widths, and they would be matched on the west side.
I'm going to support this because it's a through road. It's a major through road. So far as $570,000 for a half mile, we can't afford. The parish really can't afford that. So we have to be very cautious when we approach these right here. It is a serious safety issue, that section right there. But because it's a major thoroughfare, I'm going to support it. Reluctantly, I will support it. But so I'll offer a motion that we go forward with Canyon Road widening at a tune of approximately $570,000.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Cinnamon, do you have that motion? There are no objections because I do not object.
And since we already got 3 designs on it, we just want to get something out of it.
That was part of my concern, is that we've spent a lot of money designing this thing, and I don't think we ought to spend any more money checking on additional designs. Let's go to something that we think is reasonable and willing to stand up for the safety and at the same time stand for the public also. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
The next item is a 4th Street, Anna, and Plimsoll Streets on the west side of the river. This is a rare opportunity that we have. These roads are all on the 2006 road list. And we're working hard to get that 2006 list out for bid. I'm still about 60 days away from that, and so once we do that and put those up for bids, the normal process for these roads would be sometime later this fall. We have a contractor that is working over on the west side that is has competitive bids. 5 bidders bid on the contract, and this particular bidder was the low bidder, and he's right there, and we have an opportunity to partner with the city of Donaldsonville to have these roads, which are right in that same area that they're doing, to have these done at this time within the next 60 days. It's my recommendation. I've looked at the bid prices. We'd use their bid prices. We'll get our attorney to formalize an agreement that we can fund these, but we could do these roads very quickly in the scope of things, and it's my recommendation that we proceed.
Motion pending legal says it's legal for us to partnership with Donaldsonville.
Second.
There are no objections. Get that to the next council agenda. Next item,
Next item is also one that I'd really like to clean up, and I don't have a particular recommendation. It's one that when I first got here, it was an item that was debated, and it's been kind of hanging around. That's the design of the Roddy Road US 61 intersection. In the past, the south or west side of the road was improved, and in that process, the consulting engineer felt like that he had approval or at least concurrence to go over on the other side and do some work to prepare for that intersection on that side. That was debatable as to whether he did or not. And even now, I can't tell you one way or the other. I think it's a matter of misunderstanding, if you will. But in either event, they did do traffic analysis and some preliminary design on that side. And I think we either have to authorize them to proceed with the design, or we have to tell them that no, we're not going to authorize you to go with the final design. But I feel like since we could utilize the traffic analysis that was done and required, and the preliminary layout, that we ought to pay them for the work that they've done at this point. So that's kind of my recommendation, is that we're obligated to pay him for what he's done, but we're not necessarily obligated for him to continue to do more. That's, I think, your decision. If you want that to be the case, then we could authorize him to proceed with the design, but otherwise, I think you could select a different consultant.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to go ahead and recommend that we go ahead and pay the consultant, GSA,
Yes.
and let him finish out the project since he's familiar with the, I think it was the south side that he completed. So if I'd like to go ahead and make that motion.
I'm going to second that motion. Discussion.
Okay, we have a discussion now.
There's no secret my concerns. Okay. 9 road intersection improvements. Only got 3 done in years. Still my concern. They tell me that you pick your battles. I'm going to let this one go. Okay. Don't agree with how it was approached. None whatsoever. But for the sake of moving forward, I'm going to let this one go and support it.
Is there any reason, I mean, is this a project that can be done ahead of the rest of the project?
Well, excuse me. Again, there's preliminary work that's already been done. So I think that does put it forward in some of the others. And clearly, at least in my mind, is that when I can review the plans that are coming to me, I can turn around and I feel confident that I can move these type projects forward. I've not got in on the, if you will, the beginning of them. I've kind of caught in on the tail end on a number of them, and so as a result, never had significant input. But on this one, I definitely would have, and I feel like I feel pretty good about it.
Okay. There's a motion and a second to continue on with GSA doing the design work for Roddy Road and US 61. There are no objections. They can move forward to the next council
Okay. Thank you.
agenda.
The next item
Mr.
we have.
Bob, hey,
I'm sorry.
before we go to number 8, I'd like to recap what we've just approved going to the full council and anticipating the full council will go along with this. You got approval to move forward on West Worthy Road Bridge, Cannon Road widening, and Roddy Road and 61.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That's how I understand it, too. Also, the inclusion of Miller Road as 2007 with a high priority on it.
Right. I want some time frames, if possible. When you get, we want time frames on when this we can anticipate mobilization on these projects that's been on the books for years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand that.
What did we complete on 4th Anna and Primsall? Didn't we agree to do that with the?
Yeah, that's working with Donaldsonville.
That was across the river on the other side.
That's working with Donaldsonville.
We
Working
approved
with
entering
Donaldsonville,
into
okay,
contract
yeah.
pending legal justification. I feel really good about that one. I think it's a rare opportunity. And I know Councilman Joseph is quite pleased with that, too.
Well, Mayor Sullivan had talked to me about these roads last week, and I was supposed to get back with him, so I had some heads up on exactly what it is. So, yeah, it is a good marriage.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could, hopefully we can do it.
But it's really a good thing like that. I mean, I'm a real believer in partnerships. Where partnerships make sense, it just seems like it's logical for us to take advantage of each one's position at this time. And fortunately for us, I think they're in a better position than we are. And we need to go forward with this, and I appreciate what you've done. The next item, item 8, is roads that we're recommending for accepting in the parish maintenance system. These are subdivision roads that were constructed and inspected by us, and
Have they met up the 1 year?
the one that we're concerned about is the Oaks on the Bluff. We've got a problem in that particular one. The rest of the roads are fine, but we've got a section about 30 to 50 feet long where they had designed and installed brick pavers. And unfortunately, if you don't do brick pavers just right, they almost never work in road beds.
You said Oaks.
Oaks on the Bluff.
Oaks on the Bluff.
That's not on this list.
It's not on this list.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not. We're not accepting that yet.
That's up, the bonds up on that one and Oak Plaza, but we have problems and it's been turned over to an attorney. We just accepted Oak Grove subdivision.
I
Okay.
apologize for that.
All right.
I apologize.
I'll move,
yeah.
Chairman, that we accept
Yeah.
the 5 roads,
The list.
the list, into the
You have
parish
approved all
maintenance
these lists.
at
all
Lakes
these-
at Oak Grove.
Second.
Thank you. I was ahead of myself there.
There are no
But this is a
objections,
good
and we will send this list to the full council on the next council agenda.
This is a good example, though, of the diligence of the parish employees that go out and do the job, and the guys are sitting right behind me here, and they go out and do a very diligent inspection. And as you can see by this one, is that they're not going to accept anything for parish maintenance. It's not up to a standard, and I truly appreciate that. And I'm sure, the taxpayers of the parish, we have enough of going back and trying to fix things that were not done correctly to start with. And so they're trying to stop that, and such that the roads that are constructed now are constructed to a good standard.
Sometimes they're putting the same squeeze that we are as elected officials. We recognize that.
They sure are. It's not an easy job for them.
We want to offer our thanks also to you guys. We will agree with Mr. Turner here and thank you publicly for diligently inspecting these roads and bringing us proper documentation. Thank you.
Now, the other item that I have, item number 9, is the promised 2007 preliminary list. And actually, I've got quite a comprehensive list for you that's a result of input from the council members, the projects that were previously on the 2006 and never got funded, and some additional intersection and turn lane requests. These I'm presenting to you for your preliminary review and public knowledge of them, so that the council members and the public can view these and hopefully give input as to what their real desires are. I wish I could tell you that we could do maybe half of them or something like that, but in truth, there's 140 locations that we have identified here, and that 140 locations, given a $200,000 to $300,000 project, amounts up to over $40 million. So that's a kind of money that you're looking at if we were to do all the lists. So obviously we need to cut that list down to do the most highest priority, and we're going to try to give you enough information from a rating system to assist you to do that.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you may speak, Mr. Lindbergh.
Bill, how far are you on rating these roads? How far you made it through the list?
We've got one employee, Mr. B.J. Lambert, who's kind of rating our list, and I've got him out there virtually every day, and he's trying to work his way through it. But of course, it's going to take us a little while to rate them all, and we'll try to get those back to you as quickly as we can. But I can't give you a deadline. In fact, to be honest with you, it's hard for me to even get to talk to B.J. He's out there early and he's out there late, and so he's very diligently working on it. I think it's important to have one individual that establishes a standard that says this road needs more work than this road. If I go out there and look behind him, I might have something slightly different. But consistency is so important in making these selections, because there's, in some cases, a road obviously is badly needed, and another one is not needed, and so where we would draw that line between, say, high priority roads and a second priority and a third priority, we really need to be consistent. So I'm really hoping that BJ can give us that.
All right, just Mr. Bob, to bring you up to speed on how we have been trying to run these road projects. We've always tried to have the next road project well on its way by the time the last one's finishing up. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in a serious gap between the BKI project finishing up, which they only got AC Road and maybe one more, maybe. And we haven't.
AC is, we're waiting on AC.
That's
Road.
the only one.
Yes, sir.
There where we're finished that last road project, and we are not even close, doesn't look like, to getting the list for the 2007. So we're seriously behind. So just to keep in mind, we, the council, Parish, really need to work very diligently on getting that. I believe in the system that you're wanting to do, because I'm glad to hear you say that, because whenever I looked at this list, I said, I see total chaos with 11 council members trying to come to you and get their roads in, okay? I do believe in the priority system based on work orders generated on the roads. So as soon as you can get that, I'll let you know from discussing and hearing from the council, it appears that the council is pretty comfortable going after $5 million. There ain't gonna be no secret. We're looking at a $5 million project, and we'll probably split it. So if that will help you.
That does. That helps me quite a bit, and I'm also agreeable that there's no one particular area of the parish that has a lock on good roads. I think the need is across the parish, and I certainly don't see any reason that we should not make a reasonable distribution of the funds available, because there are needs in each area. I'm particularly partial to improvement like turn lanes, anything that will increase the capacity of our streets. We're going to face more and more traffic, as like parish president says, we're the fastest growing parish in the state of Louisiana and the 9th fastest maybe in the nation. And so it's important that we do our best to try to keep our infrastructure up, and capacity is one of them that really must be done.
Well, typically we have tried to keep our projects between $2 and $3 million, but because we're so far behind, that's why we're talking about $5 million. So just for your food of thought.
Thank you.
We do seem to have two different projects here, too, if you look at the list.
Actually, there's 3 lists. There's the first list that's got basically these are the ones that we received from the council members at the outset. In fact, they've got each council member's name and a list of roads by that. And we did not add or change to that list ourselves from staff. These basically came from you all. The second list are those that were had previously been considered. In fact, there's more detail on those. They've got some dollar amounts associated with them, and those are the ones that had not been selected in the past that we need to continue to look at those. So, and then the third one list is some additional turn lanes There's, I think, 9 of those to be considered.
Right. I'm just saying that with this list that you have here, it seems like the different types of work that needs to be done on it, could probably be split to 2 different types of projects.
Yes, ma'am. I certainly understand what you're saying. I apologize for being confused about what you were saying, but yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So when will you have us, we're going to maybe get a better update next month?
I'll give you an update monthly, and I would hope that I'd be in really good shape next month. I hate to make a promise to you, but because I have a limited number of employees
Right.
available to me.
Well, I'm sorry. Won't you give Mr. B.J. Lambert some Red Bull?
Well, I was just going to say that, that since these roads do have different types of needs on them, that maybe you could get him to focus on one particular need, and then we could at least identify one project and get started on that one while we go to working on identifying another one.
I think that has merit, and I'd be glad to give that consideration to see if there is a way we can hit, I'll say hit the high points first, and
Right.
then we'll see where we can go. And
Since if we're going to split it, even or whatever like that, then maybe we can get started on one project, and then we'll work on the other one after we get that one started. Sounds good. Okay.
Sounds good to me, too.
Item number 10.
Item number 10 is a proposal for PSI to do geotechnical services on 3 roads. They've given us a proposal for about $4,800 to do technical work, and I'd recommend approval.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. There are no objections. This too can go to the next council agenda.
The next one is one that, again, has been around for some period of time, and we're just so close to having something on. In fact, we're close enough that we've scheduled public hearings already. I mean, it's one that we need to bite the bullet and resolve. We've got a problem at the south end with the intersection of 933 at Galvez Middle School. To resolve that, to go through the traffic analysis and maybe the additional right-of-way acquisition and a number of things like that, I would like to see us pull out that intersection and let's go ahead and do the 90% of the rest of the road. And we'll come back and continue looking at that intersection, but this is a project that is desperately needed, and I'd like to see us go ahead and do the majority of the road project and come back and do the intersection right behind it.
Appreciate that, Mr. Bob. I'll go ahead and make that motion that we go ahead and pull a turn lane out of the road widening project and proceed.
Second for discussion.
Point of discussion on that. I do want to tell you that the cost to revise the plans to pull out the intersection, there is some cost that I've given you in your packet for alternate analysis and traffic analysis and things like that associated with doing that. It's not a freebie that we can cut the end of the project off. So I'd like.
I tried following you, Bob. I couldn't. I lost you.
Okay.
Tell me what it's going to cost me. What additional money is this going to cost us if we pull the intersection improvement out?
It's going to cost $32,000 essentially to do that. And that
to pull it out.
Yes, sir. The reason that that's involved is that you've got to go through another traffic analysis of the intersection, and you've got to revise the road plans. Now, hopefully, that information, some of that information will show up as savings on the intersection. But at this point, I can't tell you that because I don't know. But I do know that there is a cost associated with it.
And Bob, you reviewed, you feel confident?
I have, and I have to tell you, I'm always concerned that we don't waste our money, if you will. It bothers me to redesign something several times, and so I'm very much cognizant of the concern that has. But I feel so strongly that the majority of this road needs to be constructed, that we need to proceed with pulling the intersection out. and then that gives me an opportunity to try to look hard at the design of the intersection and hopefully create some savings there.
If I'm going to support adding another $32,000, when are we going to move on laying asphalt on Joseph Area Road?
We're going to have a public hearing, 2 public hearings later this month. We're going to show the public 100% completed plans. We could go to bed relatively quickly after this. This is the only thing holding the project up. It's the only thing holding the project
Is
up.
the intersection improvement design?
If we were to keep the intersection into the project, I can't give you a project for at least 6 to 8 more months before you can go to bid.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to ask one question. Do we have all the right-of-way that we need on Joseph Area Road?
Yes, we do.
Okay. No further question.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to give a date. On May the 22nd at 7 o'clock, we'll have our first community meeting at the Galvez Middle School in the cafeteria. So, and then we'll have another one to follow. So, May the 22nd of this month, we'll have our first community meeting.
We'll have completed plans mounted in proper displays so that individuals can see the effect of the road improvement on their particular property. So they'll be able to know exactly what's going to take place in front of their house.
Thank you all so much.
Cinnamon, I would like to, try to attend that meeting. If you will, give us an email with that date on it so that we can put it on our calendars. So we have a motion and a second to take the turn lane out. There are no objections. That can be brought to the council at the next council meeting. Place it on the agenda. Item number 12.
Item number 12 is the 2005 road project. It's one that's been going on, and I've tried to, as I was aware of the changes that are needed, change orders, I had submitted those to you, and I had submitted some to you already that's listed in this tabulation, but I really wanted to go ahead and put it in here so you would be aware of the impact. We're talking about, in order, and again, we're down to essentially one road, and that's AC Road, to be completed. The utilities are about 2 weeks away from being moved off of AC Road, and the contractor can go to work and knock that one out, and the project would essentially be completed. However, in the past, as you may or may not recall, I hope that you do, that last fall we encountered significant problems with floor light in some of the roads. And you can see this packet that I've given you, and the first one calls change order number 3 estimate. There's 10 roads there that we encountered floor light on. And floor light, for the public's benefit, is that it's a material that, if it's contained, is not too bad for road-based material. However, if it's exposed to moisture, it starts to expand and contracts and creates this rumble strip down the road. So once you have encountered it, you need to figure out how to deal with it. And what we've had to do is to do leveling course, add additional asphalt. Kent might add some more as to how we treated it, but essentially we had to encounter over $200,000 worth of additional work to deal with this floor light on these 10 roads. And they have listed down there the amount, and in accordance with your instructions as to complete documentation, I had to kill quite a bit of trees to send you this packet of all of the details, but it does show you a item by item change where it was affected. And before we talk about that, I'd like to just kind of go through the whole item, and then I'll come back to it. But the next one is what I call item or change order, potential change order number 4. On those 3, those are a little bit different in that 2 of those are locations where the Public Works Department had to replace culverts across the road, fairly major culverts, and we actually contracted or wanted the contractor to go ahead and put the pavement back on those, because he was more able to do that pavement work than we were. And in addition to that, those two, then we have Summerfield North. The next item on the agenda, I separated it because it had some concern, but that's Woodlawn, the removal of Woodlawn Road and the substitution of Summerfield. So I will tell you that by where we ran into a problem on Woodland with pipeline, we couldn't cross the pipeline without expending $500,000, and so by deleting that road, we were able to save about several thousands of dollars, and we were able to add then Summerfield North at about $7,000. So there is a net savings in that too. And the problem that I had, and I brought this before the Transportation Committee in the past, and you all approved the deletion of the road. What I didn't know at that time, and what I found out shortly after the meeting was public, is that there is a 2.5-acre landlocked piece of land at the end of the right-of-way on Woodland. This 2.5 acres was homeowners had been waiting for 3 years for us to construct the road inside the parish right-of-way to get to their property so they could build their house. I was very frank about it. There was no way I could approve the street with a $500,000 expense. So by deleting that and working with the pipeline companies, we can construct a driveway, if you will, for the 150 feet of the down to their house, gives them access to their property. They're quite happy with that. And the pipeline company is very happy too, because they won't have school buses, garbage trucks, all of the heavy equipment that you would normally encounter on a road. So as a result, we solved the problem that the parish has about access to a landlocked piece of property. We saved some money on the road, and we're still able to do Summerfield. Now, with that, and I apologize for it, but I've actually explained to you the next item instead of this, but it's included as a part of the change order of the 2005 road projects. The last item, and what's change order number 5, this is the one that I had brought to you in the past. That's $117,000 for additional work on Church Point Road and on Betty Street. I'd brought to you. You all looked at that, debated that, approved it. It went to the board, and they approved it. So really, this project has already, this part of the change order is already approved. So, but I did want to, since we hadn't actually ended up with a final change order, I wanted you to be aware of the total cost. So that's how the $344,000 change order is broken down and the reasons for it. I'd be glad to answer questions that you might have.
I do have a question about Bayou Grand North you have on here for $19,000. Is that because of the work that we did on the culvert? And will that be the whole road or just the area that they dealt with?
That's just in the area of the culvert. That's the limited.
And I'm just wondering how it got on the 205 list.
Well,
can y'all just put that on the list, or does that have to come to us to put on the list?
We replaced the culvert itself,
right?
So that was an obligation of the parish and to replace the pavement. But we felt like that it was appropriate to use the expertise of the contractor to complete that, rather than try to complete that in-house, since we can't lay hot mix asphalt. And so that's the reason that's on there.
Have you looked at that road real good? Does that, is that going to suffice, that road, or do we need to, that's a crucial intersection. Bayou Grand North is a crucial intersection at 621. So do we need any other, I mean, if we're going to do something in that area, I guess what I'm asking you, do we need to do anything more to it than just patch it up?
I think it's very possible that we need to do more. Clearly,
Then that's what I'm asking,
yeah.
why it's on this list, that what maybe it should be on
Well,
the 207 list.
And it maybe should be. And it maybe should be. What I'm really trying to say, I guess, is that we had this emergency or need to replace this culvert, and we went in and just replaced the culvert.
Right.
That's not to say that the rest of the road was good,
Right.
because it's not necessarily so. But we had to do this one area, and so this is the funds that does just that part of it.
Well, tonight we heard that it was 90% complete.
That
Bayou Grand North was 90% complete, which left 10% left. So is it the 10% that's going to cost us $19,000? And what is that intent? That 10%?
If you don't mind, I'd really like to come back and give you a more complete answer than I can give you now. Let me look into that.
Okay, because I mean,
if it's
you
okay,
know, I would
I'd
really like to know exactly
ma'am.
what state we're
Yes,
in
ma'am.
and what we have to put up for that.
Yes, ma'am. I will follow up and give you more detail on that.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Councilman
Yeah,
Sullivan?
Bob, just for clarification, on the Church Point change order, which is change order number 5 estimate,
Yes.
is that just an estimate because you've got $50,000 for Church Point, but then on your change order D estimate, you've got $45,000.
Henry, can you? Henry will actually develop the estimated change order. And
So I'm trying to follow you with all these change orders. Kind of hard.
The 49.
Yeah.
Hold on. That should be the place it showed up. Now,
Okay, and that should be a final figure.
Yeah, this is the final figure because we didn't have, when I gave you the D yesterday, we didn't have the final number
Okay.
on the excavation.
Okay. The final number is the 49. The previous number was the number we actually had yesterday as a kind of a. We thought we were going to have to have a slightly estimated number, but we was able to finalize it. And the $49,928.54 is the actual amount of the change order.
Okay.
How much?
$50,000.
$50,000.
$49,929.
Yeah.
All right.
One of the things, and I can certainly understand some concern that you might have here, because I have some concerns. Two areas that I'm concerned about, and maybe I'll speak for you when I say this, but I'm concerned about the fact that we're not aware of the floor light problem in advance.
In defense of the parish, the council years ago, when floor light first became known, that it reacted with the cement, soil cement, a conscious decision was made that rather than to go out and hire a testing firm to come in and do a lot of testing and put the money into testing, we would just go ahead and lay the asphalt. As it erupted, we would come back. Now, if you can show that it's more prudent today to do more testing versus the way we've been doing business, how else are we going to do it? Because the parish has no record on where they laid floor light in the past. I mean,
I think
that was the mindset back then.
And I've heard that recently, and I think those are valid.
I mean,
valid
we understand
positions.
that the new roads that has not been blacktop in years and years. Yeah. Now, if I come back and I do Roddy Road and we have flare up, then I've got a serious concern about that, because Roddy Road, when we redone Roddy Road, it was some serious safety factors that I'm talking about, some eruptions.
Yeah.
So hopefully we've taken care of all that on all the roads that we have blacked out over the course of the last 9 years. And floor light should be becoming a thing of the past,
Yeah.
hopefully.
I agree, and I hope that's the case too. The other area of concern that I have, and it kind of shows up really in this change order, is that when I had encountered the need to overrun or do additional work on Church Point and Betty Road, I came back to you virtually immediately. When I knew, I tried to inform you. I'm kind of concerned why we waited from November or last fall till now to give you a change order of several $100,000. I guess I feel like we should have done this earlier.
Well, if you known earlier, yeah, and being you wasn't here, we're not going to tie you down and whip you.
Well, the thing that I guess
we have to have, somebody has to be responsible for it. Okay.
I'm trying to make want to assure you that I'm going to make the commitment to keep you informed as soon as I know.
All right. Let's get back to the change order because I'm not straight and clear on the change order. Let's go to change order D, where I've got.
Yeah. Now D, let me explain what happened to you. I gave you actually the change order in a total, so you would know what the total amount is. But then turned around and asked BKI to break that down into individual.
So it's fair to say that change order D is the final one, the final. Oh, I see some head shaking. No, back here.
No. D is the estimate that was done yesterday. That's yesterday's when I first got this, and I got estimate D. I got this figure of $344,000, and both Kent and I and Henry felt like that maybe it's more appropriate if we showed you the three different aspects of the change order, the breakdown. And so that's where the others came in. But I did want you to have a overall picture. So, but you can't, I don't want you to take the numbers on D because it's an estimate where these others are more firm numbers.
Okay.
Okay. It's kind of like that. I'll show you the overall number and then I'll break it down for you. And that's kind of what we wanted to do here. And also to document, I want to give you the documentation of what caused the change order, and I needed to do that like this.
Okay. I also see that you have Woodland Avenue in parentheses, which means that's a minus.
That's correct.
Now you're telling me that you're wanting to put Woodland back on. Is that what I heard you say?
The driveways.
Down the road.
What we've done and what you all have done, and we're total support of it, you've eliminated the street extension for Woodland. You've eliminated the street. But what we've done in this change order by eliminating the street, in order to
accommodate the pipeline. I understand that, but I'm talking dollars now because you got a minus 11,500. If you're putting it back on, then that changes the bottom figure.
I didn't put it back on though. What I did, I took the street off and put a driveway on. The net result is a decrease in the cost of that of $11,500. Instead of a street, we build a driveway.
Okay, so you still got the monies in there for the driveway.
Yes, sir. We sure do.
That's what
yes, and I apologize for that, but yes, sir. And in addition, for $7,000, we can do the Summerland extension.
Yeah.
Okay. And quite truthfully, that's the item that I talked about. That's the next item is it kind of explains that we removed Woodland and we added Summerfield and it has the driveway in there.
We can clear this up. What is the anticipated total change order for this project that we know as we know today?
Henry, do you have those three?
Added together?
Yeah, added together.
Not exactly, but basically it is the 203,690.01, the 38,618, and the 117, which is roughly going to be 355, roughly.
Okay, so we're looking at 355.
355.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is total, Henry?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And the bulk of this is because of floor light.
2/3 of it is for floor light. Yes, sir.
What's the other third?
Well,
Additions?
The additional failures we found on Church Point, the reconstruction of Betty Road.
Okay.
That's $100,000, and then the $38,000 is the addition for Summerland, Summerfield, and then the boxes that we replaced in-house and used the contractor to pave over those.
Make a
That's the
motion, we
38.
accept the recommendation from Mr. Bob on the change orders for the 2005 road project.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept this change order, and there are no no's. So it is approved. Put it on the next council agenda. Thank you, ma'am.
And again, item number 13 is, we talked about it, but it explains it maybe a little bit better. But
Motion,
essentially,
Chairman.
this is kind of for your information only. Once you've approved the change order, you've accommodated
Yeah,
item
no
number
action,
13.
no action needed.
No action needed. Item 14, strike that off your agenda. It doesn't exist. We got kind of confused. 14 and 12 are the same thing. But the last item, which is 15, or if you mark it, it'd be 14.
Mr. Bob, I
Yes,
have
ma'am.
somebody that wants to speak on that agenda
Okay.
item, Councilman Barraga,
On which one?
item number 15.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. I reviewed a list Mr. Bob and administration came up with. This is a lot of these private roads are family partitions, and I'm requesting that Tammy Road be put on this list if y'all approve this list. A little bit of history about Tammy Road. Many moons ago, the parish received right-of-way from these individuals on Tammy Road, and parish actually accepted and blacktop a portion of the right-of-way that they took in. Well, they didn't have any homes past where the parish blacktop. Now there's a couple residents being built on this particular stretch that the parish originally took in and took the right-of-way on, but now I ask that y'all possibly look at taking Tammy in because there are some homes there. Actually, a long time ago, the parish actually built, I guess, kind of a road bed. If you look down the road, it's mounted over, and there's ditches on each side with grass growing. And now they're building a couple of homes there, and it is a family partition like the rest of them. So I ask that y'all consider taking Tammy Road in. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Lambert.
Is the list, you need action on this tonight? Because I have a couple of roads I'd like to get with you on first before I submit them to make sure they meet all.
What this list was, and this was generated by the request to take in the Spellman-Lambert Road. There are 20-some-odd houses on Spellman-Lambert Road, and so rather than just single it out and say maybe we need to take it in and do something, we felt like we ought to come back to you and tell you there's some others maybe like that. And that's what some of these are. All of these have at least probably 5 houses, and all of them have at some point in time made a request for us to do some significant work on them. I've got really very mixed emotions on these. On one hand, I feel like that some of them were divided and sold and subsequently sold to avoid building a road and as family petitions. They maybe should have been subdivisions, and they over time different people came to buy them. But on the other hand, these are roads with people in our parish. It's hard to distinguish, just like Councilman Berger said, that in the past we might have paved a portion of these and we went down and stopped because there was no houses, but the road was essentially the same on down. Now we got somebody building down there and we tell them we're not going to do anything for them. So it's a tough dilemma that we're in, and at some point in time, I think we need to deal with this issue, and by dealing with it, I think we have to take some of these roads in. I think we need to be sure that it does meet minimum standards. We've got to have adequate servitude in order to maintain a decent road, and we've got to have a certain width of roadbed that makes sense, that cars can pass on. We shouldn't be taking any 10-foot wide lanes in and paving those. They need to be of adequate width. But somewhere along the line, they're going to fall in this, like our 2007 list at some point. Maybe it's 2010 or 2012 or some list like that. But eventually, these roads need to be taken in. Now, the planning department is looking very hard and limiting so that we're not continuing to do these kind of petitions in the future, that we'll have true subdivisions. And so I feel confident that the problem that has occurred in the past will not continue to occur, but I think at some point in time we have to deal with those that have occurred in the past.
Well, and to add to that, I mean, another reason why this discussion came up is because we use our employees and equipment to go over some of these private ones, and we have to get, so we use it. Like, for instance, Spellman-Lambert Road. I mean, we've gone in there and we've dug the whole length of Spellman-Lambert Road, and we go back there from time to time to maintain the ditch and to cut the ditch in the back to access our drainage ditch. So that's how this all came to be. And I knew that there were some other roads out there in the parish that fell in that same criteria. And I do see two roads that happen to be in my district, Shelley Street and Tracy Street. These roads are in a subdivision, and if you were to ride through that subdivision, you would not be able to tell the difference at all. And these roads here are like maybe 8 years old, and why they never? I mean, they meet our standard. I don't have a clue. I just became aware of this, that these two roads are not ours. It's private, but they definitely should be in the system, unless there's some hidden reason that I don't know about.
Yeah, I'm not aware of a reason that they were not taken in when the subdivision was taken in.
Well, I was pleased to see them on there because I was planning on talking about it.
Yeah. Well, there was a big gap between a couple people leaving employment and some other people being put in charge of that. And there's probably quite a few roads out there that still not been accepted. I mean, we tried to catch a list of it. I mean, there may be a few that got by.
Well, if that's the case, Mr. Yarman, then I don't want these two. I don't want a couple of them in these gravel roads that we're talking about, because they may be needed to be taken up separately because they meet our standard. That's for sure. They're good roads. I was on them today.
If you found one like that, report to us. We'll go look. And if it's in
Tracy Street and Shelley Street on Bayou Estates.
Okay. And there may be others like that that we need to be made aware of, and certainly if they're up to a parish standards, I think I sure would have no aversion to taking those in. I think we probably should have taken them in originally.
Well, this is the problem. I happen to be down there today, and one of the residents questioned me about it and said that they tried to get DPW. DPW was cleaning a road ditch in the subdivision, so they went down there to see if they could come to theirs, and they said no, that's a private road. It's not a parish. So that's two of them. Would y'all please look into that?
Yeah, Jared, because that's when Carl left. That's when all that commotion started.
Okay. So you can take. I would really want to take these two off. That should be taken up separately.
And we also set a lot of covers on that road also.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay. We might, if there are others like that, I'd like to kind of gather up several of those and come back at one time with the recommendation to take those in and resolve that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Would you please, Bob, email all council members on that and make sure we can get this resolved?
I'll send that to all of you.
Is that all? We don't have to make a motion on this? We're just going to review
bring it back.
Information at this point. I wanted to explain when I was opposed to the Spellman-Lambert Road. I wanted to explain why and give you both sides of the issue.
Thank you, Mr. Bob, for a wonderful meeting. You did a great job.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I will second.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you for listening.
I gotta bring them up to speed.